Hey everybody, so I want to talk to you just a little bit about the video introduction as well as making a video for the final project. Now, a real common question from a lot of students is, okay, why do we have to make a video? Why can't we just record a straight PowerPoint and do an audio over the top of that? Well, the whole idea here is to kind of stretch your boundaries a little bit and get you into a position where you really are presenting the information that you've researched and not just reading off of slides or relying on your slides as presentations. As we move forward in today's world, what we're seeing is that a lot of education is taking place via short, quick videos. And so while there's no intention here to make you some type of YouTube personality or to make you an expert video editor, I do want you to see the value in the ability to present something in a not custom fashion, if you will. So not just your typical PowerPoint. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. And everything I'm doing is recorded on my iPhone 6. So it's not a really new fancy phone, nor is it some fancy video editor. It's all free apps that I can get on my iPhone. So even if that's all you have, you can do this and you can make a good quality short video, and that's going to help you in your introduction, and it's also going to benefit you when it comes time to make your final presentation video. Right now I'm recording on my iPhone 6, and real quick here, let me just turn my camera around and show you. Okay, that is my camera or my phone holder. I'm using an IV stand to hold my phone while I'm videoing. So again, nothing fancy. I don't have a tripod or I don't have someone else even helping me. I'm just in our supply closet and found an IV stand, set it up at the right height, and that is my cameraman, if you will. One of the biggest keys that I can tell you when you're recording your videos, especially if you're using your phone, is to do it in landscape mode, which is the sideways or horizontal mode. So here I'm in portrait mode or the vertical mode, just like if you're holding your phone regularly. And you can see how the output of that, when you're watching it back on YouTube, obviously it shows up like skinny and tall, and that's not really conducive to a full screen or capturing the whole image. So always just stick with horizontal or what's called landscape mode. Thanks to our sim man here for helping us out with this one. Another really great aspect of lighting, another really easy but crucial tip when making videos is that you've got good lighting. Your camera is going to perform better when you have good lighting, and it's going to be a lot easier to watch and to see. So you can see behind me there was just our light boxes for our x-rays. Now I've just got them on and I'm standing in front of it, and you can see how well my face is lit. The background's not blown out or anything, but I've got good exposure here. Whereas when I turn around and I've got like a window, like natural window light behind me or something like that, you can see how dark my face is. If you're inside your house and there's not a lot of lighting, not a lot of natural light, or your lights just aren't very bright, you're going to really get this sort of dark subject with a bright background. And that's not really desirable in most videos for people that are viewing them. So it's so easy to do. This is just mimicking a window essentially. So if I'm standing in front of my window, this is kind of the view you're going to get, and you can see how great of a lighted shot that is. It really is pleasing to the eye and is going to help. You can see here I've got some hair kind of out of place. We'll just fix that and move on. Okay, so my last tip before we jump into the editing phase is to consider your audio. And it's really important. A lot of studies have shown that the video can be perfect, like 4K, all kinds of good lighting and everything else, but if the audio is bad, people aren't going to watch your video. You don't need a fancy microphone or any external equipment or anything like that. The mic on your iPhone or your Samsung, whatever you're using, should be just fine. It's held out at arm's length, typically like this, or if you have a selfie stick, that works really good too. That audio should be just fine. Now, right now I'm outside, there's a little bit of wind. So I do want to pay attention to if the wind noise is going to be overbearing, but I want to just make sure that my voice is clear. Nothing's worse than if you're watching a presentation and someone's explaining their topic to you, yet you can't really hear them or understand them just simply because of the tone that they have, or maybe they're speaking really quietly and they're just not easily to understand. So make sure you do speak up, you know, louder than maybe a normal conversation. Make sure you enunciate your words and you speak very clearly. Don't try to go too fast. Don't try to go too slow. And you might lose your breath a little bit, because I'm constantly talking here. It kind of feels like I'm air trapping just a little bit, because I'm just trying to talk and talk and talk and talk, and I'm not really breathing. So do breathe. That is important. But overall, again, the point of this is just to make sure that your audio is good. Now, a quick lighting tip on this. If you notice, the sky in the background was really bright at first, and my face is still kind of dark. Background looks good now, but you know, the lighting's not super. But honestly, guys, this is great. This is good enough for anything that we're going to be doing and wanting to put out. So I don't want you guys to take these tips and make them really, really difficult and precise. I just want them to be quick and easy things that are going to help you make just a quality video and have success with this. So, you know, just recounting those things, make sure we're in landscape mode. So we're going side to side with our camera, not up and down. Make sure the lighting is decent. And then lastly, make sure your audio is decent. Okay, from here, we're going to jump into some screen capture of some of the software, some of the apps on the phone that's going to help you edit the videos. Of course, you can do all of the video recording straight from your phone. You can use one cut and then splice them apart and then edit them and move them together. Or you can do several different individual videos in order to make that work, and then just combine them all using the apps on your phone. Okay, so now we are onto my phone, and I am going to scroll over to my iMovie app. Again, free app on the App Store. Just download that. You can see I am in, I'm recording my screen on my iPhone right now, and yeah, it is in portrait mode, which again, I don't prefer, viewers don't prefer it, so I'm going to just turn my phone so that it goes into landscape mode, and now it's going to be recording in landscape. So once we're in iMovie, you can see here's a couple other movies that I've worked on in the past. It automatically opens up into the projects page. If I click on the plus, it's going to say, okay, I'm going to create a new project. Do I want a movie or a trailer? A trailer adds all kinds of funny things in, which is kind of cool for some uses, but for our purposes, movie is going to work the best. So click on movie, and from there it pulls up your sort of your camera roll, if you will, and it shows you all of the little videos that you've previously recorded. So these are going to be all of the clips that you've recorded that you want to place into your introduction or your final project. Initially what I'm just going to do, I'm not going to include all of these the final video, but this is just a short tutorial on how to use iMovie. So I'm going to click the first one here. I want to include that. I usually do one at a time rather than doing all of them, and I'll show you why once we get into here. Once I've selected the clip that I want, I click Create Movie down here at the bottom of the screen. Okay, it takes just a minute to import that. Once I'm there, you can just use your finger to scroll through this video. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll all the way back to the beginning really fast here. And if I click on that screen, or on the timeline, you can see the timeline is now outlined in yellow. And if I just use my finger, I can just drag this to decrease or trim that footage. So, you know, I don't want me touching the button to start the recording in my video. So I'm going to drag it back here to where I actually start talking, and that's where I want the video to start. You know, that's pretty handy. Now, what if I want to, say, add some type of footage right here at this moment? Well, from there, if I click split, it actually splits that video. So it cuts it in half, so that if I wanted to add something, I could actually drag it and drop it right into there. If I click the plus button right now, I could go into here. If I go back into my albums and my camera roll, and let's say I wanted to add one of these pictures, boom, I just dropped in a screenshot
Okay, so let's say you did your video introduction and now you want to add one of your slides. You can add a slide or an image in here, and then there's a nice transition. It automatically fades. You can see this fade in and out into me talking again, and then you can go back. You could do another cut, split it there, and then add. So I just click the plus button. Let's add a picture here. Okay, so again, now I'm just kind of transferring back and forth between myself talking and the slide image or whatever it is that I'm trying to present, which makes your video much more interesting. Again, it's really important that we don't just present a PowerPoint and talk over the top of a slide, because that, generally is pretty boring and doesn't engage our listeners or our audience, whereas doing this type of thing really keeps a member engaged. Plus, it gives us all kinds of opportunity to add different types of pictures and things to it. So one thing I want to mention is at the split point, you can see it added the dissolve transition, but you can change that to be, any of those options that you have there. And then when I walk through it, you can see how it slides in that. Okay, so that's a new transition. So you've got all kinds of different creative options to work with on that in order to, to kind of see and customize your video and how it looks. It's a really professional look. And it's absolutely simple to do, so it really doesn't take any effort or any advanced learning from your part on how to do it. One thing that you maybe will find is that, okay, I've recorded something and it's really cool, but there's no audio or anything, and I need to narrate it. Well, if that's the case, by clicking on the thing that you want to narrate, at the point that you want to start narrating, if you click the plus button to add media, okay, I'm going to get out of my albums and then go to the back. If you scroll down, you can see here voiceover is an option. And so that's going to allow me to set up a recording in order to do a voiceover. Now, if I'm way too close to my microphone, you can see that it kind of starts clipping out in that red area. You don't want that. You want it to keep, mainly in the green and only at very loud spots to get up into that yellow. So once I'm ready, I would push record and it would start to record over the top of that video, and so that would be your voiceover narration. I'm just going to cancel that for now because we're not going to add that with me currently recording audio. One thing I want to show you with adding slides or adding stills. So okay, now this is just a screenshot I took with my phone of the Boise State, our respiratory care program homepage for the degree advancement program. If I click on that, it gives me a couple of different options. So here where it says Ken Burns enabled, that is what's providing this sort of zoom or this motion effect of the picture. If I turn that off, now it's disabled. Now it's just that one picture the whole way through. So if you have an image and you want some motion to it, add Ken Burns. Okay? But if it's just a PowerPoint slide that you want to show for a few moments and then narrate it or just have it in the background, then I suggest turning Ken Burns off. Now with Ken Burns on, it gives you pinch to position to start, so it allows you to sort of change how you and where you start that video or that picture with the motion. So it does give you a few options there. So that's pretty much it for the most part right there. I'm just going to slide to the very end here and say, okay, now we've done this again. Okay, do I really want my hand covering that up? That doesn't look really good. So I'm selecting it, grabbing the yellow and moving it back to the point where I just finished talking, but before I reached for the camera. And so I just sort of trimmed that up. So now I'm going to add another video. So click the plus button, go back into albums or videos. Really, you could go into either or. And then let's add a video. So I'm going to just select this last one here, which was me outside. So again, here just scrolling through that. But let's say that, for some reason I made a mistake and I actually wanted this clip to be somewhere else. Well, if I just press and hold, now you can see I took that whole clip and now I can put it anywhere I want in this timeline. So if you're wanting to move clips around, you just press down on the clip and you keep your finger there. It's kind of like a drag and drop, and then that allows you to select it and move it anywhere else in the timeline that you want to go. A couple of cool features. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning here. A couple of cool features that I want to point out. If you select the clip, of course we talked about splitting it. We can detach it. We can duplicate it. We can delete that clip. But over here on the left-hand side, the bottom corner of the screen, the trim is highlighted. That's allowing us to grab the yellow bar and trim the image. You can also speed up or slow down the image. So now if I select the little speedometer there, I've got my rabbit or my turtle, and I can increase the length of that, but it slows it way down, so it's basically going slow-mo. Remember, that is going to affect your speech to some amount. And then I can speed it up again. That shortens the clip, but it is going to go sort of like fast motion. But again, it's going to change your voice. Now, if I double tap that white marker, it just takes you back to one-time speed or normal speed. If I click the speaker button, that helps me adjust the speaker level of that clip alone. So let's say you've got one clip that's just really quiet and you need to boost it a little bit. You can select that clip and then boost up the volume on it. Now, that might start to give you a little bit of distortion or kind of some scratchy noises because we're taking a signal and just boosting it so high. So really be careful with that. But if you've got something that you just, you've recorded for 15 minutes and you just can't see re-recording it for the audio, if you can bump that up a little bit and it's usable, that's good. But keep in mind what I had said earlier about the audio. Like, audio's got to be good, otherwise the person's not going to want to watch the video. The next item over here at the bottom left is the T, like the text tool. Now this is actually allowing you to do either a title or a lower third. So I really like this focus title here, and right now it's centered. If I click lower, it makes it a lower third and it moves it over. So I'm just going to stick with center for now. And then if I tap the text on my screen, okay, so I'm going to delete the placeholder text and I'm just going to type in how to video, okay, because that's what I want my title to be. So if I leave it at center, that's what it's going to look like. If I take it as a lower third, it's going to be down there. So depending on where I want to place this, if I want this to be, right at the, top of me, like right in the center, then it looks pretty good there. And you can see it's actually got some motion to it, which is really pleasing. That looks really good. But let's say, okay, well, I don't want it to be right over the top of me the entire time I'm talking. So let's go back in here and then let's make that to be a lower third. And so now when we look at this and we scroll back and click play,
hey everybody. So
we can see that it's actually down in the lower left-hand corner. That actually looks really good. So I'm going to leave that there. So let's just play around with that option just a little bit more. Let's add a title here. So we're just going here. Again, we're going to click T, add that title. Let's try this line title. See how that looks. And up here we'll just put the BSU RT program. Okay, and then let's just add this, change this text down here, and let's just make that say RT rocks. All right, finish that up. Let's take a look at how that's going to look. Click the play button, and we can see here, scroll through it. Nice. Okay, that looks really good. We'll just let that play through. Nice motion graphic pops up. But notice, like, it's not going away. All right, we can scroll through this the whole next couple of minutes. It's not going away. And of course, we don't want it to be up there that entire time. Okay, so how do we change that? Well, if we click on that, click over on our scissors again. If we just split this image, okay, so now we see this new clip. It's not there anymore. The old clip, it's there. So simply splitting that is going to change how long that title shows up on screen. So it shows up, it's on there for a short amount of time, it goes away, and then you can see there's no weird transition. It just goes straight on with the video, and it looks like it just fades out normally. So that's how you would adjust that title. It looks really good like that. All right. A couple other things you can do just really quick is color grading. So you can change all kinds of, get all kinds of weird things going on here. This only affects that one single clip that you're working with. It doesn't affect the entire video that you're going to make, but only that one clip. Usually I just leave it as none unless you really want to, have some kind of strange effect at one clip. Then it's kind of nice to add something. So let's just say we add the duotone there, and then, so here's what's happening. It's duotone. Let's say, oh man, we really don't like that. Over here on the right hand, sort of bottom of the video, but above the timeline, you see this 180-degree arrow. That's the undo button. If I click that, it's going to undo my last change or effect that I've added. So that's kind of nice. It'll undo that effect. There's no way to redo it unless I just actually go in here and then redo the motion or the that movement. But it does allow you to undo certain things in case you did something and it's like, oh man, I really didn't like that after all.
Real quick here, let me just
So
turn
that's
my
gonna
camera
allow
around
you
and show you.
to make those changes. The settings wheel, if you click on the settings, it lets you do a project filter. So now if you want to change the filter for the entire project and not just one individual slide or clip, this is where you would go in and do that. So whatever I choose here is going to be overlaid the entire project and not just one clip. Again, I pretty much just recommend leaving it on none. Okay, so then you also have these themes that you can choose from. You can add music. The fade in from black, fade out to black. I always suggest having those because it just adds sort of like a professional feel that the film fades in and then fades out. And then speed changes, pitch. I like to keep that selected because then if you slow down a clip or you speed up a clip, it tries to adjust the voice in order to keep the pitch somewhat normal but just speed the voice up. May not be perfect, but it does add a little bit of a benefit to that. That's pretty much it then. So I've kind of taken you through the entire process. Obviously here, this isn't everything I recorded. When I go through and finalize this movie, I'm going to add a bunch of more clips and I'm going to trim them all up and make it sort of my final polished off project. And if I'm going to add more clips, again, I just push the plus button, I select what it is I want to add, and then I add it in there. Once you've added everything you want, one thing that's kind of cool to do right at the end is to maybe do another title screen, and then you can have like a closing statement or a closing title if you want. That's fantastic. I recommend if you're going to do your references, which you should do in your video, do those like on a PowerPoint slide, do a screen capture of your PowerPoint slide, bring that image in with all of your references on it, and just have those references showing at the end of the video, as opposed to trying to do it with one of these titles. Okay, so then once we're all done again with our video, if we click the done button up here at the top left, there you can see it's pretty much finished. It's a finished project. If I push the play button, it's going to show the entire video full screen,
So I want to talk to you just a little bit
just
about
with all of the edits and
video
everything else, just as it's going to be when you upload it. So you can see all of it going through there. Everything looks good. I like that. Okay, click done to get out of there. If I see something I don't like, I'm going to click edit and go back into the movie, and then I can change whatever it is that I didn't like. Okay, click done again. Don't click the trash can, otherwise you just lost everything that you spent time doing. But the square with the arrow, that's the export button. We'll click that, and it gives you all kinds of options as to how you want to export it. So you can save it to Dropbox. I personally recommend you save the video. That saves it to your camera roll on your device, which is nice to have that backup so that it's on there. Of course, you could put it on Facebook or anything, the iCloud, pretty much anything that you wanted to. And then if you keep scrolling over, it does have YouTube as an option. You can send it as a message as well. But once you click on YouTube, that's going to take you out to the YouTube page, and it's going to allow you to sign in with your YouTube account. And you can see it's going through the process of that now, where I would click sign in, and then that would allow me to upload this video. I'm just going to click done for now. But then once you do that, you could see there just very briefly, it gave you a whole bunch of settings on how to upload your video, what type of quality, what type of notes, what are the description. And then at that point, it's already uploaded to YouTube, and you're basically ready to go. Once you're in YouTube, you can just copy the URL, and if you click share, that's going to allow you to get the embed code, and then you just follow the instructions that's for the introduction or week 1 that talks about how do you embed a video into Blackboard, and that's going to allow you then just to put the video inside of either your assignment as you turn it in and your discussion board. That way people aren't just clicking on a link and it's opening a new window, but they can actually watch the video within the discussion board window. It makes it much more effective for you as a student and me as a faculty to view your videos. And all of those instructions are written out, detailed on how you do that in the week 1 folder. So that's pretty much it. Once you, again, if you want to save it to file or save it to the videos, I'm going to click that. Once I do that, it's going to take a while. I always suggest saving it in the highest quality that you can. You want it to be able to be blown up on a big screen and be really, really high quality. So 1080p is my iPhone 6's highest quality. So that's what I'm going to select. If you've got something less than that or bigger than that, whatever the highest quality is for your device, choose that. Now once I choose that, it's going to take a few minutes for it to export. So it's creating that movie and it's making it into an MP4 file that's going to be able to be stored on your computer. So at this point, you've uploaded it to YouTube, and then you're also saving a file locally, so if anything happens, say your computer crashes, whatever the case, it should be on YouTube, no problem, but if something with that app upload fails, then you've got a copy of it on your phone as well. So always back everything up, and this is going to just make sure that you've got that extra backup. All right, that's pretty much it. Thanks for taking time to watch this video. Hope these tips help you not only just with video quality, but in sort of easing some anxiety that you might have about making a video. I recommend, it's week 1, download iMovie and, go out in the backyard with your kids or your dog or, yourself with the selfie stick, doesn't even matter, and just practice, record 3 or 4 different clips, make them fairly short, 30 seconds to a minute. Open up iMovie and just start playing around, add some titles, add some transitions, take a screenshot and add a graphic into that. Just get used to using it on a very, very short project that you're never going to do anything with except for just to figure out how to use the iMovie features. And that's going to really help you. Making these videos is not a big, scary thing. It's really, really easy. But sometimes finding the software to do it can be difficult. There's a ton of software for free you can download onto your computer, and you can do all kinds of crazy edits. That's fine. It's great, but it's completely not necessary. Using iMovie on the iPhone or iPad is just a wonderful way to do this, quick and easy. Looks professional, and it's easy to do. I'm sure Samsung or any other Android type of device is going to have a similar, movie maker application that you'll be able to use. And again, everything's free. So that's pretty much it. All right, thanks guys for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions, just shoot me an email, and on with the semester.